Good evening. I'll call to order the SMUD Board of Directors meeting of April 16th, 2026. Please rise and join me in the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting of the SMUD Board of Directors is recorded with closed captioning. The recording will be cablecast on Metro Cable 14, Channel 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast and DirecTV UVerse cable systems. The recording will also be video streamed at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting replays Sunday, April 19th at 2 p.m. and Monday, April 20th at 9 a.m. on Metro Cable Channel 14. Once posted, the recording of this meeting can be viewed on demand at youtube.com/MetroCable14. Please remember to unmute your microphone when speaking in order that our virtual attendees may hear. The microphone will display a green indicator light on when the mic is on. Please put all electronic devices in the silent mode while in the auditorium. For members of the public attending in person who wish to speak at this meeting, please fill out a speaker's request form located on the table outside this room and hand it to SMUD Security. Members of the public attending this meeting virtually who wish to provide verbal comments during the board meeting may do so by using the raise hand feature in Zoom or pressing *9 while dialed into the telephone toll-free number at the time public comment is called. Technical support staff will enable the audio for you when your name is announced during the public comment period. You may also submit written comments by emailing them to publiccomment@smud.org. Written comments will not be read into the record, but will be provided to the board electronically and placed into the record of the meeting if received within 2 hours after the meeting ends. Members may speak to items on the agenda on which the board will take action and may also address the board on other agenda items and items not on the agenda but within our jurisdiction during the general comment period. The auditorium is equipped with a safety alarm. If the alarm sounds, please leave in an orderly manner via the exits to the lobby or behind the dais. Assemble in front of the building and wait to hear the all-clear announcement from security before re-entering. Would the Chief Legal Officer please conduct the roll call?
Director Rose. Director Bowie Thompson.
Present.
Director Fishman.
Here.
Director Herber.
Here.
Vice President Kurth.
Here.
Director Sanborn.
Here.
President Tamayo.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. And now Director Bowie Thompson will read our 2030's climate action tip.
Thank you. For April, we have some great waste tips for us. SMUD is working towards 100% zero carbon by 2030. There are lots you can do to help us lead the global clean power city movement. April is Earth Month, and there are many things you can do to celebrate. Waste in landfills are a significant source of methane, a potent and harmful greenhouse gas that traps heat in the atmosphere. You can help reduce what ends up in landfills by choosing reusable materials, avoiding plastics, and going paperless with your monthly SMUD bills. Join the charge with us and visit cleanpowercity.org to learn more.
Thank you. At this point, if there are no corrections, changes, or additions, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved by Director Herber, seconded by Vice President Kurth. Directors, please vote.
The agenda is approved with Director Rose absent.
Thank you. Now moving on to our committee chair reports. Director Sanborn, Chair of the Strategic Development Committee, will give the report of the April 7th, 2026 meeting.
Thank you, President Tamayo. The Strategic Development Committee met on Tuesday, April 7th, and there was one informational item. And that item was to provide the board with an internal and external presentation on the vehicle-to-grid technologies that we're researching. Zach Wogan, Executive Director, with the Vehicle to Grid Integration Council, is focused on unlocking the value of managed charging, bidirectional charging, and DER paired charging. Some highlights of his presentation were that the ways that EVs can provide services to the grid. The EV Energy Brattle Group study finds that $5 billion of avoided costs from passive managed charging and $13 billion from active managed charging and $12 billion from bidirectional charging by 2035 nationwide. And in California, managed charging can save $4.2 billion in system costs by 2045, and bidirectional charging capability can unlock an additional $3.5 billion at a modest 12.5% participation rate, 12.5%. SMUD's Director of Research and Development, Grants and Partnerships, and Zero Carbon Energy Solutions, James Frazier, gave a presentation on the local market for potential vehicle-to-grid technology and SMUD's vehicle-to-grid integration initiatives. SMUD is actively exploring vehicle-to-grid opportunities, particularly focusing on electric school buses to support both local transportation needs and grid services. There are 800 school buses across 13 districts, with 111 electric buses already in service as of December of 2025, and 72 are equipped for vehicle-to-grid use. SMUD's initiatives prioritize grid resilience, resource optimization, infrastructure support, and decarbonization, all within a collaborative ecosystem involving service providers, aggregators, hardware vendors, and school districts. A successful vehicle-to-grid program requires advanced bidirectional charging technology, effective communication systems, and operational coordination to ensure vehicles are available and ready to support both transportation and grid demands. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Director Sanborn. And now Director Herber, Chair of the Policy Committee, will give the report of the April 7th, 2026 meeting.
Thank you, President Tamayo. The Policy Committee met on Tuesday, April 7th, and there were 5 discussion items and 1 informational item. The first discussion item was to approve the SMUD disclosure in the Transmission Agency of Northern California 2026 refunding bonds preliminary official statement. As a result of the refinancing, SMUD is expected to save approximately $700,000 annually for the next 13 years. Good job, SMUD. The second discussion item was the monitoring report for Strategic Direction 6, which is safety leadership. Safety continues to be the top priority at SMUD for employees, contractors, and the community. SMUD continues to meet its target of minimizing workplace injuries. With ongoing improvements and expansion to SMUD's safety management system, SMUD delivered on its goal of reducing injury incidents to less than 13 in 2025, as measured by OSHA's Days Away Restricted Time, or DART. This is item 5 on tonight's consent calendar. The third discussion item was revisions to the monitoring report for Strategic Direction 6, Safety Leadership. Revisions include reducing safety incidents to 0, that's right, 0, by 2030, providing timely, quality health care for injured employees, and tracking and reporting incidents involving the public related to SMUD's operations or facilities. This will be added to the consent calendar for the May board meeting. The fourth discussion item was to discuss the potential amendment of Governance Process 12 related to board compensation and benefits. This is item number 10 on tonight's discussion calendar. The fifth item on the Governance Process 2, Governance Focus, Governance Process 4, Board Committee Work Plan, and Agenda Planning, and Governance Process 13, core and key values found, core and key values in these different governance processes, that we found that core and key values were in high compliance with these processes. The informational item was a review of the board's work plan. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Director Herber. And now Director Bowie Thompson, the Vice Chair of the Finance and Audit Committee, will give the report of the April 14th, 2026 meeting.
Thank you. There were 4 discussion items and 2 informational items. The first discussion item was to approve the updated solar and storage export compensation rate that's effective this June 1st. This is item number 6 on the consent calendar. The second discussion item was to authorize the CEO and General Manager to execute the Water Forum 2050 agreement, including the Sacramento Municipal Utility District Purveyor Specific Agreement. This is item number 7 on the consent calendar. The third discussion item was to authorize the CEO and General Manager to negotiate and award a sole source contract to Itron Network Solutions to purchase smart meters compatible with our advanced metering infrastructure. The contract would be a 5-year period through April 2031 for up to $40 million. This is item number 8 on the consent calendar. The fourth discussion item was to authorize the CEO and General Manager to negotiate and award contracts to Aspen Environmental, AECOM Technical Services, Ascent, and GEI to provide environmental and California Quality Act, also known as CEQA, support services. The contract runs for a 3-year period between April 27th, 2026 to April 26th, 2029, with one optional 2-year extension for up to $12 million. This is item number 9 on the consent calendar. The first informational item was to provide the board with a summary of SMUD's financial results from the 2-month period ending February 28th, 2026, and the summary of SMUD's current power supply costs. The second informational item was the internal audit services report on the status of recommendations for Q1 2026 and rubber goods testing. This concludes the reports.
All right, and now Director Bowie Thompson, the Chair of the Energy Resources and Customer Services Committee, will give the report of the April 15th, 2026 meeting.
Thank you. There was one informational item, and it was to present the board with a 2030 Zero Carbon Plan, which is our semi-annual update. It included information on utility scale project progress towards 2030 goals, reliability and affordability considerations, and our integrated resource plan, also known as IRP. We've been tracking our journey to zero, designed to be a flexible pathway with a firm commitment to our guardrails of reliability, affordability, and safety. We continue to experience a variety of headwinds and challenges as we continue pursuing our goal, including scaling new technology, resource costs, and regulatory issues. We continue to progress to our utility scale projects, including local renewable and storage projects and regional renewables. In regards to there are new technology options, and which includes the Calpine Sutter carbon capture and sequestration project. We're also collaborating to develop a potential power purchase agreement. Last fall, we had a 16-day Thule fog event that we all suffered through that reduced solar generation to as low as 10% of our potential maximum generation, which provides a case study of the critical nature of capacity value. There are updated reliability studies that confirms that when our Country Acres Solar and Storage Project comes online, we'll be able to replace our McClellan and Campbell thermal plants. There's parallel availability of these thermal plants that would still be needed to ensure a reliable transition. We're also working on retooling of the Procter & Gamble Campbell Soup Generation and Consumnes thermal plants. 2026 marks the 5-year anniversary of the board's adoption of 2030 Zero Carbon Plan, which formed the basis of our IRP. It's time to update it, as energy resource costs have increased significantly since 2020. We'll look to answer some key questions in the new IRP, as well as explore several options to navigate our affordability quadrails to 2030 and beyond. The IRP will be filed with the California Energy Commission in September 2027. Conditions have changed significantly since we first adopted our zero carbon plan, but we continue to work towards decarbonization of the greater Sacramento region. This concludes my report.
Thank you very much. At this time, we'll take comments from the public on the consent calendar. I have not received any cards. Do we have any other requests?
I don't see any virtual attendees wanting to participate.
All right, so we'll move on to our consent calendar. Item number 3 is to approve board member compensation for service rendered at the request of the board for the period of March 16th, 2026 through April 15th, 2026. Item number 4 is the approval of the minutes of the meeting of March 19th, 2026. Item number 5 was reviewed at the Policy Committee of April 7th, 2026, and it pertains to our Strategic Directive 6. Items number 6 through 9 were reviewed at the Finance and Audit Committee of April 14th, 2026. Item number 6 pertains to the solar and storage rate export compensation rate. Item number 7 pertains to the Water Forum 2050 agreement. Item number 8 pertains to the sole source contract with Itron Network Solutions, Inc. for the purchase of smart meters compatible with SMUD's advanced metering infrastructure. And item number 9 pertains to the contract award for environmental and CEQA services. If there are no corrections, changes, or additions, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved by Director Sanborn, seconded by Director Fishman. Directors, please vote.
The consent calendar is approved with all directors voting yes.
Thank you. Item number 10 is to discuss with possible amendment governance process GP12, board compensation and benefits. And our presenter is Matthew Powell, our interim director of People Services and Strategies.
Good evening, President Tamayo and Board of Directors. Tonight I'm here to present on GP12, governing board compensation. Following my presentation of these slides, I'll be turning it back over to President Tamayo for more discussion by the board. GP12 covers board compensation and benefits, and it is required to be reviewed on an annual basis. In the MUD Act, in section 11908.1, it states that the board may adjust compensation by no more than 5% for each calendar year following the operative date of the last adjustment. The max adjustment for this time period is $341. Also, compensation is prohibited from automatically adjusting each year. Please note that the previous adjustment was effective July of 2025 to $325 from $317, approximately a 3% increase from the previous rate. On this next slide, we have several options for the board's consideration. The first option is a 2.7% increase, and this represents the annual CPI, which was effective December of 2025, the trailing 12 months. The next 3 options are 3%, 4%, and 5%, with $335, $338, and $341 respectively, with the increase of 5% at $341 being the maximum allowable for this change. Of course, the board may also decide to adjust per day compensation to a different amount or retain the current $325 as captured in option 5 there on the slide. And any changes would be effective July 1st, 2026. And at this point, I will turn it back over to President Tamayo for discussion.
Thank you very much. Excuse me. So we did discuss this last week, and it sounded like we didn't have unanimity on doing a raise. I know that some directors didn't want to do a raise at all, and others wanted to do a modest raise. Nobody was in favor of going to the maximum. But I'd like to find out, where directors stand at this point. So let's just start at the end of the row there. Director Sanborn, you want to?
Sure. So I think, as I said, it feels to me the right thing is usually 2.7 or cost of living, but I don't like odd numbers, so having 334 go to 335 seemed very reasonable to me, and I'm still of the mindset that this should be done every year in very modest amounts, and we just keep pace with cost of living, and that's it.
Director Herber?
Thank you, President Tamayo. I agree with Director Sanborn. I do think it's important for us to make the adjustment every year. And the reason is that I've seen in the past where we haven't talked about this, and then there has to be much bigger increases, which I don't like. I mean, I feel that we're all working hard as a board. We're trying to keep the rates down. We're grateful that, we got the lights on and great customer service. But I really feel that it's appropriate to have the cost of living increase to CPI. And, that makes sense to me.
So I'm still a no on this for this year. And I understand completely that we don't want to get into a position where we have to give ourselves, some extreme raise to bring us back into line. But I think we can find some middle ground where every other year we do a modest increase, or even every 3 years. And for me, honestly, $325 a day and let me make it very clear for the public, this is capped at 10 days a month at most. And if you attend 2 different meetings in the same day, it's only one compensation. So nobody's getting rich here by any means. But I just think we're fairly compensated. And even though we can give ourselves a raise, doesn't mean we have to give ourselves a raise. So I would prefer to not do it this year, and we can come back next year and see what seems reasonable.
Director Kurth.
There, thanks. I support the 3% or the 2.75, whatever we end up with there. It's this the kind of thing just needs to be done every year, whatever the CPI is, just keep moving it along. Otherwise, the adjustment becomes too big, and it's never an uncontroversial thing. And one other point is for the 10 events per month. I know most of us go to more than that, quite a few more than that, and so it has a way of working out. Thanks.
Director Bowie Thompson.
I also agree. I just feel in general having smaller, more incremental increases is reasonable, especially with keeping up with CPI. I also have to think about the next people in front of us. We all may be comfortable and have second jobs that can float this, but I know in my career I've made decisions based on this, and for some people that may want to run, having just that little bit more compensation would make this job easier to handle on just people's budgets, and it is not, like others have said, it's not this grandiose amount, but for some people, just a little bit more can help their financial situation, because there is a lot of sacrifices. I know when I go to most events and there's a donation to be had, I typically donate back what I get paid that day. I rarely actually ever take that. I usually just donate back to the organization, but that's something that I'm personally able to do, but we can't assume that everybody else can do that too, especially when many of us, I just looked at my, for this, and I'm not even president, because there are a million things in a month. I went to 8 different days in just the beginning of April. So I would support the smaller amount of to make it even at $335. So that's 3%.
Director Rose.
So I will say a few things. I'm definitely sort of more echoing Director Fishman's thoughts. I know when I was new to this board, which was a long time ago now, it hadn't been adjusted. The pay hadn't been adjusted for 20 years. And so we made a pretty considerable bump. And we also made the commitment at the time to review that every year, which is why we're talking about it. For me, it is fair. I mean, I work 20 or 30 hours a week and take, at least a month off of my day job to go to conferences and SMUD events. So I feel like it's a fair balance, but it is certainly public service. And I'm far more comfortable. We raised it a year ago. I'd be more comfortable on a every other year basis, somewhere in that CPI range or less. So I'm not opposed to this. I think raising it 2 or 3% is fair, but I intend to abstain from this vote tonight. All right, thank you.
All right, so I'm counting votes here, and it looks like you have 1, 2. Well, I'll state I support the 3% to 335. It's just slightly over our CPI of 2.7, and really just to get us, instead of 334, it'll be 335, which is almost an aesthetic consideration. So it appears to me that we have 5 votes for a modest raise and 2 votes against. Would anybody care to propose a specific motion, including an amount?
I'll make the motion to adjust to the 3%, 335 per meeting.
I second that.
Okay, so motion by Director Sanborn, seconded by Director Bowie Thompson, as a motion to approve an increase of 3% to board compensation effective July 1st, 2026. So the final amount would be, it will be adjusted to $335 a month. So, directors, do we have any?
It's 335 per day of service.
Oh, yeah, excuse me, yeah. 335 a month. Well, that kind of undoes the whole thing. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, correct. The motion to approve an increase of $335 per day for board compensation effective July 1st, 2026. Did I get that close enough this time? So, I'm having trouble with units this last couple of days. So, all right. So, directors, please vote.
The motion passes with Director Fishman voting no and Director Rose abstaining.
All right. Well, thank you very much. At this point, we allow the public to comment on items not on the agenda, but within our jurisdiction. And I've received 2 cards. One is from Nate, so you can make your way up to the mic. And then the second person is Scott Slaughterbeck. And please be prepared to come up to the microphone once Nate is done. You're Nate?
I am, yes, sir.
All right, so don't touch the microphone. You'll be electrocuted if you do. And and you have 3 minutes. Let's see, were there any other instructions? Well,
Okay, may I begin?
yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm not going to do it. Thank you. My name is Nate Doberneck. I'm here on behalf of the McClatchy High School Parent-Teacher Student Association, the most celebrated high school in all of Sacramento. No debate on that. Go Lions. I would love to talk to you about all the wonderful things that the PTS Day is doing. The teacher appreciation events, the mini grants to teachers, the senior scholarships, the graduation night, all of that. But the reality is that I'm here for 2 asks, one of urgency and the other one strategic. Over the last 3 years, the McClatchy PTSA has been supporting a student-led initiative to focus on traffic safety and traffic choices. And that has led us to the realization recently that the Sacramento Ride-Free RT program funding ends as of the end of June 2026, so coming right up. I don't have time within the 2 minutes remaining to talk about how we got here, but right now it's cobbled together with funding from a pie of sources, including Sacramento County, the 4 cities of Sacramento, Elk Grove, Rancho Cordova, Carmichael, and districts, school districts of Sacramento, Twin Rivers, Natomas, Elk Grove, and one other I'm forgetting. But all of those districts are contributing. However, this year, the school district is in incredible duress. They have an existential financial crisis, as you're probably aware, and they will probably be unable to fulfill their contributions towards this. So the whopping budget for the Ride Free program is $1.5 million, a de minimis amount, really, in the scheme of a larger organizational efforts. And so what we are here to do is to step into that, see if SMUD would be willing to step into that space. There is a tremendous overlap. Director Sanborn talked about the electric buses. Thompson talked about the need for the carbon-free. McClatchy is prime located along Bus Route 62 and the Blue Line, as well as many of the other school districts in the county. Another thing to consider, it's embraced by the students. In 2021, ridership by the Ride-Free program by students was 600,000. 2024, 4.2 million. It's a sevenfold increase there. It's incredibly popular. It is almost now the de facto way a lot of students get to school. And it's 24/7, 365. They get to work. They go to other places. They go, my kid went out to Folsom. I say, how'd you get out there to go to the outlets? They went, I took RT. We took the light rail. I went, oh, so free range kids are back. They're going to be moving around, taking stuff once they get on that bus system and they're used to it. And that encourages them to become lifelong riders and adapt to that. So we are facing an issue now, and that's why it's unusual for a PTSA to come to an agency like SMUD and say $250,000 is necessary. In the last few seconds, I'll ask that we are now approaching the school district, the city, Sutter Health, all the other agencies, and we're looking for basically either the city or the school district to champion this program and create an actual sustainable strategic model. And we would like to invite SMUD to participate in that when it's time. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Paul, can you have maybe somebody talk to, I'm sorry, I didn't remember, to Nate, and, yeah.
We can certainly actually look into it.
All right, great. And looks like Director Fishman, you have something to say.
Well, this isn't on the agenda or anything, so I guess I don't need to leave the room. Okay. Nate, my day job is with Sacramento Regional Transit, so if this were to come up on the agenda, I would need to recuse myself. Thank you. All right.
Can I just say thank you for bringing this to our attention?
Absolutely. We'll reach out with
Yeah, I want to thank you too. It's actually very well said. I appreciate your comments. So, all right, now Mr. Slaughterbeck, are you here? Come on up.
There's no doubt where there's a nuclear renaissance undergoing in the nation as a whole. I know that SMUD has its own interesting history with nuclear power. I also am aware that there is a state law that prohibits the construction of new nuclear power generation facilities. I wanted to ask the board if it has explored bringing nuclear back to SMUD, and if it has looked into lobbying efforts to repeal this very outdated state law that prohibits clean, safe, carbon-free power generation for the future. As everyone knows, Sacramento is kind of atypical in that it is still growing somewhat, and there is an increasing demand for energy. I think we all know that data centers, which is a controversial subject, requires massive amounts of power. If Sacramento does not explore keeping up with these kinds of demands, for the future, Sacramento will be left in the dust. And power is ever increasing in the function of everyday life, as we all know. I'm sure SMUD is aware that power consumption continues to rise every year. And I just wanted to know if the board has explored lobbying to have this legislation statewide repealed, and if it has looked into bringing nuclear back, probably in the form of a microreactor to Sacramento, probably run by a private entity or consortium because of the interesting history SMUD had with Rancho Seco. I mean, I have read some of the reports, and I think it would be advantageous to the board to explore this using a private entity or a consortium of other companies to bring nuclear back to Sacramento, clean, safe, carbon-free power.
Thank you very much, Mr. Slaughterbeck. I will say we can't really get into a discussion, but we did have a presentation to the board from, I think, a couple of different folks in the industry earlier this year or late last year, and staff can help you find the record of that. There's a full recording of our sound recording, I believe, of that. And then I will say that it didn't appear at that time that we were going to pursue any lobbying effort, but we understand the barrier and anyway, so we have looked into it, and if somebody from staff could help Mr. Slaughterbeck find the record for that meeting, then you'll see what we were talking about. But thank you very much. All right. Have we received any requests to speak from our virtual attendees for items not on the agenda?
No, we have not.
Okay. Thank you. At this point in the agenda, we provide the directors an opportunity to report on SMUD activity, and we'll begin with Director Rose in Ward 1 and continue in ward order with the President's report as the final item.
All right, thank you, President Tamayo. I'll be brief, as I typically am. I had the opportunity to go to the California Municipal Utilities Association annual conference. And it's always a great opportunity to have some one-on-one time with the other public utilities and public agencies around the state, and so I appreciated that opportunity. I also spent a few hours with our legislative staff at the Capitol, along with several other board members, and having meetings with our legislative delegation about some of our priorities, and I'm sure several others will talk about that tonight as well. We're headed off to the Capitol this weekend, but I've spent a number of meetings with the energy team preparing for that and having our briefing papers together. We had a really excellent presentation that I just wanted to point out from our lobbyist in Washington, D.C., Elizabeth Whitney, really outlining the best ways to engage given the current political climates and what the priorities are. And so I thought that was particularly interesting and useful preparation. And the last thing I think I would mention, other than this, the array of different meetings we've had, we had that big giant thunderstorm come through the other night, and we had quite a few outages. And so I went out and did a little mini personal site visit in Orangevale. It's one of the longer outages. And our crew, I tracked down our crew, which was right there, and they were, of course, up on top of a pole, in a downpour, getting these people's lights back on. And so I just wanted to say I appreciate our staff. That was a Sunday afternoon. The crew had been out since 6 a.m. They had worked the previous week before. They were not on call. They simply got a call that morning to ask them to come into work, and there they were, helping out the people of Sacramento. And so with that, I think anything else I left out, the rest of you will cover. So thank you.
Great, thank you. There were lots of fun things over the last month. I wanted to highlight that SMUD was the main sponsor of the Sacramento Kings Sustainability Night, which is great to see all the signage, but also we had our trucks out there so people could see our electric trucks, and they had sustainability tips throughout the night. One of my favorite events for the last, I looked in my first trout derby was in 2009, so it's been a minute. I counted up 13 years. I haven't been able to make all of them, but the Rancho Seco Trout Derby, and I always like reading out the names. It was a Wizard of Oz weekend out there. So thank you for all the anglers who survived the torrential rain, winds. I think we lost 3 tents. It was pretty brutal out there, but our event is rain or shine. So I wanted to give acknowledgement for the people who survived both day 1 and day 2 for the trout derby. So and I do like to acknowledge that there are 3 categories. When I started this many moons ago, we just had it for adults and not the little ones. So for our kids division, we had for day 1, we had 5 top place winners, and they actually did quite well. We had Adeline Yeager, Violet Machado, Elijah Drone, Ela Garcia, and Arturo Velasco with a big 3.42 pounds. The juniors, top finishers were Nathan Blizzard, Youssef Mohammed, Tim Jerzard, Adrian Avala, Grace Macharo, and Aiden Garcia with a nice one of 4.15 pounds. Our adults that day also had a great day, and our top 10 winners were Geronimo Avalar, Nazar Kartak, Ilya Kurnov, Joshua Yang, Igor Yershov, Ken Murakama, Trey Visker, Richard Bolins, Karina Martinez, which I was hoping for the first time in SMUD history we could have awarded the top prize to a woman. She came very close with 5.56 pounds, but our winner, who has come back many years, I've seen Joe, is Joe McDermott. He finally won for the first time, 5.74 pounds, and he was a great winner with a kayak. And he was very happy to win because I've seen him year in and year out. Day 2 was the Kansas day. That it was very rough, and we had one little girl who made it out for the kids division. Violet, who was there the day before with her sister, and I got to see them both. Violet Macharo, she's 8 years old, and she won with 3.36 pounds. Junior division: Colt Flederick, Alita Peters, Justin Lee, Grace Macharo, Trey Gallagher, Pariah Logan, Pavel Pavis, Aiden Zong, Eisen Brass, and Yusuf came back the second day. He pledged to come back, and he did end up winning. Yusuf Mohammed, who was 15, won a kayak at 5.42 pounds, which would have competed quite well with the adult division. So our top 10 finishers were Freddie Rosano, Ken Murakama, Reggie Galanto, Fong Vuong, Joe McDermott, Ryan Rosano, Patrick Gustafson, Ben Riley, and it was great to see it was a father and son, Mike Lane and Brendan Riley, who were 5.84 pounds and a 5.89 pounds, who won a kayak. So it's great. I have actually seen these kids literally grow up over the years and now are competing in the adult divisions. It's one of the greatest things we do. We stock 9,000 pounds over the season. Do come fish, because what I hear from the anglers is that the best time is after the trout derby and everybody leaves. There are some big ones that hide. People also don't realize that the trout don't survive. So please do go out. The weather is supposed to be nicer. About 73 degrees is when it starts to die off. So if you want to go get some great fish, I would head out there between now and June when it gets too toasty. So thank you again, SMUD, and all the people that put this together every year.
Well, let me give some props to my colleague, Nancy Bowie Thompson. You know, ordinarily, if there's a trout derby anywhere within 25 miles, a guy named Fishman is bound to go. And I looked at the weather and wimped out. So good for you. I did make it to a few other events, however. The Shine Awards, I'm sure some of my other colleagues will talk about that, but we had a little reception for the Shine Award presentations, and you know, this is just always so inspiring that there's so many great organizations doing great work in Sacramento in so many different directions, and that we're able to help out in those ways. I got to speak and say a few words at the Meet SMUD Community Resource Project in Citrus Heights. They're doing some great work, and we were able to meet some customers there and help them with energy efficiency and some other things. Went to the Coalition for Clean Air, the Toast to Clearing the Air in 2026 event. That's always fun. The United Way, United in Purpose Gala. And went to a multi-chamber mixer for the Greater Arden, East Sacramento, and Carmichael Chambers of Commerce. That was a fun event, and it's also great that SMUD is supporting each of those chambers. Finally, a couple that, you know, we keep demanding that Paul Lau brings home at least one award every week. And he was on, this wasn't an award, but he was on a panel for the Sacramento Business Journal, their Inclusivity in Business Forum, and represented us quite well. And good to hear that there's some businesses that are not backing away from that imperative in DEIB, and SMUD is leading the way on that. And then also I attended the Sacramento Hispanic Chamber of Commerce 54th Annual SMUD Business Awards, got to hear El Presidente Tamayo speak Spanish, and he did quite well. And Paul also racked in another recognition at that event. So that's all I got.
All right, who's next? Director Herber.
Sí,
Forgetting the awards, sorry.
sí, muchas gracias, Mr. Presidente. I'm really excited to report on a few events that I went to this month. I'm not going to go over everything, but just a few. One is I went to the State of the City address for Elk Grove, and Bobby Singh Allen, their mayor, did a masterful speech about how Elk Grove is growing very purposefully, and the success that they're having, not only with businesses, but building housing and parks and recreation. I tell you, Elk Grove is really on the move, and Bobby Singh Allen is one of the reasons why. And speaking of Elk Grove, there is a great group that has just started up there called Rise Women in Business. And I went to their event, and they had a speaker talk a little bit about finances and what business owners need to know to put their financial plan together. Right now, this is a group for entrepreneurial women who are starting their own business. And I just want to give a shout out to their leadership because they're doing a magnificent job. Their president is Mariel Black. Social media person is Samantha Gaines. Their events coordinator is B. Waragi. And Lori Paras is the membership coordinator. And again, if you live in Elk Grove and you're a woman who's struggling with your business, they'll be able to give you information that will help you. Then I also had the great joy of going to speak to the Spring Retiree Luncheon. And it was actually to tell them about Seroptimus. And I couldn't believe all the people that I saw there that I knew. You know, the last time I went to a retiree luncheon, everyone was like 20 years older than me. I was looking at that crowd and like everybody kind of looked like my age. And so we had a lot of fun reminiscing and talking about SMUD. And I shared with them just an update on what's going on. And then Daryl and Tina Roberts, who run the Roberts Family Development Center, just had their 19th annual benefit dinner. And I love these two people. They are changing the lives of young children in the North Sacramento area. And so I want to give a shout out to them that you guys are doing great work. And then last but not least, we had a meeting of our ad hoc committee that's looking at strategic directive number 7 on environmental issues, and that went well. And so that's all I'm going to mention this month.
All right. I believe Director Kurth, you're next.
Yes, thank you. Along with I think the entire board, we attended the Shine Awards, which is when SMUD helps various nonprofit organizations to do a better job in our community in the coming year with small awards and grants. It's definitely a case of a little bit going, hoping it goes a long ways with these organizations, and according to all of them, it really does. And so with that, I had really a wonderful experience speaking to 3 business organizations, the River District, the Natomas Chamber of Commerce, and the North Sacramento Chamber of Commerce at their various annual events. And it's just always very exciting to me to talk with these organizations that are out there making a difference. They've accumulated, or they're building up a track record of improvement. They're all so excited with what's going on in their community, and just, I have to say, wonderful to be able to spend just a little bit of time with them. and to see all the things that are going on there. And last, I spoke as an individual, not as behalf of SMUD, but as to support the City of Sacramento considering forming an enhanced infrastructure financing district in the North Sacramento community. It's the replacement for redevelopment, which was killed a few years ago for not very good reasons. This was the replacement for it, but it's been very slow to start. And so we're trying to get one started in the north area, in the North Sacramento community. And hopefully we can pull this one off, because it could make a big difference for the folks there. And with that, I will pass it on.
All right, Director Sanborn.
Thank you. So again, I think we all had a very busy month. I'll only go over some of the highlights. But in March, I was thrilled to be at the Shine Awards and meet 3 Shine winners for my Ward 7. And that includes the Act on Kindness. That is they were given $5,000 from our grant to provide 50 homes in North Highlands that are low income with electric retrofits and get their energy bills down. And we're thrilled with that. Also to the Sacramento Area Bicycle Advocates, they got over $14,000, and they're going to be actually sweeping our bike lanes with pedal-powered sweepers. So it's actually using human power to clean the dirt and the grime off the bike paths so that bikes don't flip. And we appreciate that for safety. And then we gave $1,000 to a young man, the youngest Shine winner ever. His name is Ethan, and he started what he calls E-Train Talks. And he does youth climate education by going into elementary schools. He's a high schooler, and he goes into elementary schools and junior high schools, and he reads to the kids books that have an environmental education component, and he leaves all the kids in the class with the book. So for the $1,000, he's going to be giving out the books and reading, and I connected him with board members from the San Juan School District and Kiwanis Club members that want to hear him speak at their Kiwanis Club meeting, because Kiwanis Clubs care about kids. I'm a member. And I connected him with Splash and our friend Mackenzie, who does environmental education, and my friend who runs the Nature's Lab School. So the bottom line is we're going to keep Ethan really busy, and I told him that I really hope that we can find other kids his age that he can train to go out and do this again, and this is something that can go on across the region. So maybe it's a train the trainer over time. So I'm just thrilled to help him, and he's just a wonderful young man. Then we met and had a discussion about solar panel recycling, and anybody who knows me knows I care a lot about that. And our customers who've got solar panels, it's when they come off the roof, it's very hard to find a place to take them and properly recycle them. And a company called Comstocks is getting into that recycling locally, and so we had a meeting with them and appreciate their efforts. I went to the Carmichael Chamber of Commerce People of the Year reception, and there were many wonderful people who won, but I will highlight Susan Skinner, who won Person of the Year, and she's amazing. And she is a photographer, a singer. She documents the American River Parkway like no one else, and talks about the eaglets and, posts pictures and keeps everybody connected to that beautiful river that we have in our backyard. So congratulations to Susan and all the winners. And then I went to Mira Loma. The high school did a tree planting, and they invited me to join. And of course, the Tree Foundation was there and supported them and gave them trees and our new shrubs program. And the kids and the alumni were all there to beautify the campus. And we planted 12 trees and lots of shrubs, and we weeded a lot. And it was wonderful. Everybody was there working together and beautifying the campus, because they just don't have enough staff to do the campus that size. So thanks to everybody who showed up, and really appreciate being invited to help. The second part of the month, I did go attend the North Sacramento Chamber of Commerce 20th Annual Salute to Democracy Government Relations Breakfast with Director Fishman and Director Kurth. And that's always a joy for me, because they really salute all of us that are in the elected positions that represent North Highlands and that area, because from different parties, from different backgrounds and different representations, the bottom line is we all work together in this community, and that always feels wonderful. And so we got to spend time with City Council members Roger Dickinson and Phil Pluckybaum. D.A. Tianho was there. But it's always wonderful to be there, and we listened to Supervisor Rodriguez really speak. She had a great speech about all the things going on at the county. And then we were able to host here at SMUD my final class for the American Leadership Forum, Class 30. And I just want to thank our staff for putting on a wonderful spread of food and so forth. But I was able to give the overview about SMUD, and a lot of people in that class in these high-level leadership positions learned a lot about what we do and how we came to be. So I was thrilled to do that and have more of the leaders in the area know more about SMUD and get to show us off a little bit. So thank you again so much.
All right, thank you, everybody. Voy a empezar mis comentarios en español para importante enfatizar la importancia de la cultura y el idioma español en nuestra comunidad. Especialmente para yo, tengo 47% habitantes que hablan español en mi vecindario. So, apologize to the English speakers here, but what I just said was that I'm going to start my comments in Spanish to emphasize the importance of Latino community and the Spanish language in our community, and that it's especially important for me because in my neighborhood I have 47% of the people in my neighborhood speak Spanish, and so I've had this last month, I've had 4 opportunities to speak to groups that were largely and probably primarily Spanish speakers, not exclusively Spanish speaking, but and fortunately I've been learning Spanish, and I've wanted to honor the folks in those communities, and I'll mention the groups that I spoke to. We did a Meet SMUD event at La Familia Counseling Center, which is smack dab in the middle of a highly Spanish-speaking area off of Franklin Boulevard, just south of Fur Ridge. The Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and at Dia de la Tierra, which also occurred at the Maple Center, La Familia's Maple Center, and then also back east a couple days ago, Hispanics in Energy. And anyway, I just felt that was kind of a good thing to be able to do to honor those that part of our community, and it was well received. So. But I'll go ahead and talk about a few of the other events that I went to or that I participated in. Mentioned the Shine Grant recipients, which is always a wonderful thing, and as other board members have mentioned, it's inspiring to learn about all the great things that people are doing out in the community and know that SMUD is a part of supporting those activities. I also went to the transfer of property from the city of Sacramento to La Familia. I didn't speak at that event, but it's a great thing because now La Familia owns the property, and it opens up the possibilities of us working more closely with them on improving their energy situation and receiving some of the incentives that we're able to offer to property owners. It was in a transition of being phased out of I think I said the city. It's actually the Sacramento City Unified School District was the owner of the property. It was a closed school. La Familia has been operating in it, and they're been a little bit limited in the investments that they could make since they didn't own the property. Now they do have a permanent home. It'll be a great thing for the community and opens up a lot of possibilities for them. Got to speak to a group of young folks who are participating in the boards and Commissions Leadership Institute that's done by Tammy Dramer, and we're a sponsor of that. So it was really nice to hear the types of things that these young, frankly ambitious people are already engaged in, and give them some tips about how to move forward and making an impact on the community. Some great discussions. They had some great ideas as well. I loved going to the Trout Derby, and I will give a shout out to Vince and Sheldon, who are the contractors, I guess, who operate that, and they're very enthusiastic, a really well-run event. They had some great stories about the windstorm, and I also wanted to give a shout-out to Al Ernst, who I guess is our primary SMUD person who oversees the operations there. So great event. I could tell that Nancy, or Director Bowie Thompson, was very much in her element. It's so much fun. There was that a 3-year-old girl came up and with her fish. I mean, the fish was not quite as big as her, but it was pretty cool to see kids and really adults who were really very happy to be there. It's a great event. So let's see, I already talked about those other events, and so I've already taken enough time. But anyway, it's been a very busy month for me, and but I'm having a good time doing it, and gracias para tu atención. Now it's time for our CEO's report. Take it away, Paul. Thank you.
Thank you, President Tamayo. As I said in the Hispanic Chamber, muchas gracias, Presidente Tamayo. And that's the extent of my linguistics skills. So it's really been nice to see some better weather than we experienced last weekend. Last weekend's storm packed a powerful punch that wasn't in the weather forecast. We had high winds of almost 70 miles per hour, 60 miles per hour, and lightning caused damages and scattered outages across our area. Now, SMUD's team immediately mobilized and worked safely and quickly to get the power back to our customer and the communities. At the height of the storm, we had 30,000 customers out, which was 7:30 on Saturday night. And by 10 o'clock, we had 85% of the customers back on. By 7 a.m. the next morning, we had 98% of the customer back on. Well, about 450 left by the time Sunday morning came by, and then they were all restored by Sunday. So very, can't say thank you enough from our DSO, from our distribution system operators, who operate the grid, to switching, the troubleshooters, who's assessing the damage and take customer calls, tagging and signing the jobs, and I just really making repairs, and really the speed that they had and all the stuff that we learned in the previous storms to quickly restore our customers. Just want to say thank you to Frankie and your team, I know, and then really all the whole group, everybody that was involved in restoring the customer. And we even got some positive media, and thank you, Director Rose, for actually visiting our crews. I know our crews really enjoy seeing you guys out there because, to appreciate really the hard work they do, during those difficult times in restoring power. So just want to say thank you. Now, despite the stormy weekend, our annual Trout Derby was another great success this year. Now, each April, we hosted this 2-day event that attracts hundreds of experienced and novice anglers of all ages to Rancho Seco for fun fishing and great prizes. Now, we're glad to see nearly 350 anglers showed up from across the region to fish and win great prizes. Now, in preparation, we stocked Rancho Seco Lake with 7,500 pounds of trout, including trophy-sized fish. The heaviest fish caught at the Derby was weighing in at almost 6 pounds. And thank you to President Tamayo, and especially to Board Member Nancy Bowie Thompson. I think you said it. You've been there, I think, 13 out of the 15 years that you've been here. And I know you love actually greeting the winners and actually and mixing with people, especially I didn't know the canoe winners that I know you always take great pleasure in doing. And this month we have the great time celebrating Earth Month at SMUD in our community. It's a great time to raise awareness and advocate for change around the issue that impacts our planet the most. Now, teams across SMUD are coordinating dozens of events, activities, and outreach in the community and for our employees. We're partnering with community organizations to demonstrate our commitment to a greener, cleaner planet, and encouraging our customers and community to do what they can to help make a difference for a clean energy future. Now, on the 13 Earth Month events we're participating in, a big one is the Environmental Council of Sacramento, ECOS 2026 Sacramento Earth Day. We have a big SMUD presence with a trade show booth providing information on our 2030 zero carbon plan and handing out native plant seeds. The Green Energy team was there, and there will be EV ride and drive. Now, employees will celebrate on Earth Day on April 22nd with bike tune-ups from the Sacramento area bicycle advocates. There'll also be information and tips about the shade trees and shrubs from the Sacramento Tree Foundation, e-bike test rides, and a special guest speakers who share inspiration and information to support biodiversity. Now, last week at the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, I was humbled to be honored to be the President Award honoree, and it was really heartwarming and inspiring to hear all the awardees, the honorees, about their personal journey, in terms of how do they build and grow the business in Sacramento despite some very challenging times. It was a really, really great event. And SMUD is proud and committed to the Chamber's mission to foster inclusive economic development and deeply appreciate this award. And finally, tonight's video is a comprehensive showcase of the significant upgrade we continue to make in the El Dorado National Forest as part of our 50-year Federal Energy Regulatory Commission license to operate our hydro facilities in the Upper American River Project. Now, over the last decade, we've made significant improvements to campgrounds, picnic areas, boat launch areas, and hiking and biking trails, primarily in the Crystal Basin. Now, in partnership with the U.S. Forest Service, we're committed to enhancing the overall experience for the local community, our customer, and national visitors alike. Now, let's take a look.
The Upper American River Project is often called the crown jewel of SMUD's generation portfolio. It provides clean, reliable, affordable energy to our customers.
It supports our commitment to sustainability and reducing carbon emissions. And so it pairs really well with the renewables that we're installing.
It's also located up here in the Crystal Basin, which is a beautiful place that allows for recreational opportunities. There's dozens of campgrounds, hiking trails, biking trails, picnic areas, you name it.
I actually spend summers up there going fishing in Union Valley Reservoir. I love being up there and being out there with nature. We are definitely environmental stewards, not just of the operations and maintenance of those facilities, but for the resources within the lands surrounding those facilities. We are required to meet the FERC guidelines that are set forth within our license.
So the license describes how we're going to operate the projects, how we operate our reservoirs, how we operate our minimum stream flows, our recreation stream flows. It's probably the most robust program in FERC's hydro docket. And the only reason we can make that look so easy is just because of the quality of the staff that I have on this team. They care about this project, they care about this area. Most of us are local residents up here in El Dorado County.
I think this is one of the most beautiful places in the U.S. to work. I'm very proud of the work that we do up here, and I definitely show it off.
The work we've done enables recreational opportunities, which draws thousands of visitors annually.
We've got over 36 campgrounds and recreation areas up here in the Crystal Basin.
Everybody that's involved with this really takes pride in the work. It's a highlight of our careers to be part of this and to have this stamp on the landscape that's going to touch thousands of people's lives.
The partnership between SMUD and the Forest Service has been something that we've been developing for quite some time. SMUD really understands what the Forest Service is looking at as far as making these sites accessible, but also keeping the natural beauty of the area.
The people who do know about this license, first thing they glom onto, because it's the most tangible, is the upgrades to the campgrounds and to the bike trails. They're really, you can touch them, you can feel them, you can ride on them. The Union Valley Bike Trail was something we started the design on actually way back in 2010 and came up with this way that we were able to build this thing, make it accessible, and it looks outstanding as well. There's about 13 miles of bike trail, which is paved or boardwalk, and we're almost done with the mountain bike trail, which also connects to that. Once that's done, there'll be over 30 miles of hiking trails.
The team is very proud of the work that they do, and you can see it in the results of the availability of those resources, the cleanliness of those resources.
We release whitewater recreation stream flows. They're guaranteed, and that's allowed a multi-million-dollar whitewater boating industry to form. So those benefits come directly back to El Dorado County. This ecological monitoring program that we maintain is a great example of environmental leadership. For example, the fisheries populations we sample with scuba diving and other means of collections. We can get what kind of condition the fish are in, health, species diversity, how they're responding to the new minimum stream flows. We monitor a lot of resources up here to make sure that our projects are not negatively impacting them.
I'm extremely proud of our Fresh Pond team. I think it's amazing that SMUD maintains the Crystal Basin area to the level that we do. It's a pleasure to be up there, and I'm really proud of the work that we do and the ability for our customers to enjoy that as well.
And in our audience tonight, we actually have Daryl Perry over there, who's on the video. He's really one of the heroes and really the architect of a lot of the work that we do up there. Thank you so much, all the work that you do there up there, you and your team, for making. If you've seen the video and if you haven't had a chance to visit it yet, I strongly encourage you to go up there. It's a beautiful stretch of land that actually they worked on, and then the facility they put in is actually outstanding. So thank you so much, Daryl. Please pass along thanks to your team. And with that concludes my report. President Tamayo.
Thank you very much. That was. I really like that video. So do we have any summary to note for the record of board direction?
I don't have anything, no.
All right. Thank you very much for attending. And excuse me. I want to adjourn our meeting in memory of one of our employees who passed away, Chris Hoffman. We're sad to share that Transmission and Planning Operations Director Chris Hoffman passed away on March 28th from an ongoing illness. Chris is survived by his wife, Caitlin, his two daughters, Annalise Morgan and Phoebe Grace, ages 24 and 22, and 17-year-old son, Kyber Fox. Chris joined SMUD in 2024 as the Director of Transmission Planning and Operations, coming to us from the Salt River Project in Arizona. At SMUD, he led the teams responsible for developing short and long-term plans for our transmission grid, ensuring system reliability and regulatory compliance, and operating the assets that remotely control fuel delivery, generation, extra high voltage transmission, and gas pipelines feeding our distribution system. Transmission Planning and Operations, or TP&O, also operates the Balancing Authority of Northern California Bank. Chris and his team were featured in our latest On the Clock video. Chief Operating Officer Frankie McDermott said, "I feel so fortunate to have met and worked with Chris. Even in the short time he was with SMUD, he built strong relationships across the organization and demonstrated exceptional leadership through his deep expertise. Chris's influence on our transmission planning and operations work and the kindness he shared with so many at SMUD will have a lasting impact. We're grateful for the time we have had with him. Chris will be profoundly missed, and our hearts go out to Chris's wife and children during this difficult time." Chris's work and influence extended well beyond SMUD. Throughout the industry, he was regarded as a trusted expert and valued collaborator whose impact resulted in many meaningful relationships. I'd just like to maybe have just a few moments of silence in honor of Chris. Thank you very much. So we've adjourned our regular board meeting, and we will now reconvene as the Joint Powers Authority. All right. So should I go ahead, Laura? Okay. All right. We're officially open for the annual meetings as the governing boards of the Northern California Energy Authority, Northern California Gas Authority Number 1, and Sacramento Municipal Utility District Financing Authority, or SFA. Chief Legal Officer, please read the description of the three specified joint powers agencies.
The Northern California Energy Authority is a joint powers agency formed by SMUD and the Sacramento Municipal Utility District Financing Authority and is authorized to purchase gas electricity and capacity, acquire, finance, and build gas and electrical transmission facilities, and acquire, finance, and build gas and electrical generation storage facilities. It is governed by a commission consisting of the 7 members of the SMUD Board of Directors. The Northern California Gas Authority, number 1, is a joint powers agency formed by SMUD and the Sacramento Municipal Utility District Financing Authority, and is authorized to acquire, construct, and operate natural gas-related facilities and engage in the purchase and sale of natural gas. It is governed by a commission consisting of the 7 members of the SMUD Board of Directors. The Sacramento Municipal Utility District Financing Authority is a joint powers agency formed by SMUD and the Modesto Irrigation District. The authority is governed by a commission consisting of the 7 members of the SMUD Board of Directors. As required by state law, I am notifying the public that the commissioners are not receiving additional compensation as a result of this meeting.
All right. Chief Legal Officer will now conduct the roll call.
Commissioner Rose?
I'm here.
Commissioner Bowie Thompson?
Present.
Commissioner Fishman? Commissioner Herber?
Here.
Commissioner Kurth?
Here.
Commissioner Sanborn?
Here.
President Tamayo?
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right. If there are no corrections, changes, or additions, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved by Director Sanborn, moved by Commissioner Sanborn and seconded by Commissioner Kurth. Commissioners, please vote.
The agenda is approved. Director Fishman that just joined us, do you want to vote on the agenda?
Do you want to vote?
Director, sorry, the agenda is
Okay.
approved with all directors voting,
Okay.
all commissioners voting yes.
All right. All right, at this time, we give our customers an opportunity to speak on matters on the agenda. Do we have any cards?
I do not have any cards, I do not see any hands.
Okay, thank you. All right, our consent calendar, item number 2 is the approval of the minutes of the joint annual meetings of NCEA, NCGA1, and SFA of April 17th, 2025. Item number 3 is the approval of the minutes of the special meeting of SFA of August 21st, 2025. Item number 4 is the approval of the minutes of the joint special meetings of NCEA and NCGA1 of December 11th, 2025. If there are no corrections, changes, or additions, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
Second.
All right, moved by Director Fishman, seconded by Director Herber. Directors, please vote. Commissioners.
The consent calendar is approved with all commissioners voting yes.
All right. We will now turn to our informational items. Public comment on informational items may be provided during the general public comment period. Item number 5A is a review of the financial performance for NCEA for the year ended December 31st, 2025. Item number 5B is a review of the financial performance for NCGA1 for the year ended December 31st, 2025. And our presenter is George Vaughn, the Interim Director of Accounting and Controller. Go ahead, George.
Good evening, President Tamayo and Board of Directors. I'm here to present the financial performance for NCEA and NCGA1 for the year ended December 31st, 2025. This should be a fairly brief presentation. NCEA had a change in net position of $3 million versus a budget of $7 million. The variance of $4 million was driven entirely by revenue being below plan by $4 million due to gas prices in actuality being lower than the budgeted gas prices. NCGA1 had an actual and budget of essentially negative $1 million. The variance was essentially rounded as 0, and so there were no significant discrepancies against budget for NCGA. And that concludes my presentation, but I'll take any questions.
All right, do we have any questions, Director Sanborn or Commissioner Sanborn?
Just to make sure I understand, so the gas price is purely why we have a $4 million variance in one. and we have 0 variance on the other, but the gas prices are basically the same.
Yes, so to elaborate a little bit further on that, we have a volume of 9.4 million MMBTUs during the year, and when the budget was put together, it was budgeted at kind of essentially a gross gas price, an undiscounted gas price. In reality, SMUD actually gets a 46 cent per MMBTU, kind of a net lower price. And so the actual price that we ended up paying was correct. The budgeted amount was overstated by $4.3 million.
Okay, I'm not sure I'm totally understanding
Yeah,
this.
so essentially SMUD gets, they pay a discounted rate of 46 cents below the gross price of the gas, and it was budgeted incorrectly at the higher amount.
Oh, so our budget was off, which caused this to be off.
The
Okay.
budget was off, and just to make the board aware, because the budgets, this is a 2025 report, because the 2026 budgets were locked late last year, that same error was carried forward into this year. So when I'm presenting this next year at this time, I'll have a similar commentary. And we're making sure that we're dotting the i's and that we budget it at the appropriate rate going into 2027.
Yeah, let's not copy the mistake over again.
The
Okay.
price of gas has varied in the last year by 100%, so it is fair to have some changes in the budget.
Any other comments or questions? All right. So that was an informational item. We'll close that out. Thank you very much. At this time, we allow the public to comment on items not on the agenda but within our jurisdiction. Have we received any requests to comment?
No, we have not.
Okay, thank you. Again, public comment on items not on the agenda may be submitted to publiccomment@smud.org. Chief Legal Officer, do we have a summary of commission direction?
No, we do not.
All right. So having no further business before us, these joint annual meetings are adjourned. And the special closed board meeting will begin at the conclusion of this meeting, and there'll be a brief pause while the Deputy General Counsel is seated. There will be no pause in recording. All right. Okay, good evening. I will call to order the SMUD Board of Directors special closed meeting of April 16, 2026. For members of the public attending in person who wish to speak at this meeting, please fill out a speaker's request form located on the table outside this room and hand it to SMUD Security. Members of the public attending this meeting virtually who wish to provide verbal comments during the board meeting may do so by using the raise hand feature in Zoom or pressing *9 while dialed into the telephone toll-free number at the time public comment is called. Technical support staff will enable the audio for you when your name is announced during the public comment period. You may also submit written comments by emailing them to publiccomment@smud.org. Written comments will not be read into the record, but will be provided to the board electronically and placed into the record of the meeting if received within 2 hours after the meeting ends. Members may speak to items on the agenda on which the board will take action and may also address the board on other items and items not on the agenda but within our jurisdiction during the general comment period. Will our Deputy General Counsel please conduct the roll call?
Director Rose.
Here.
Director Boyd Thompson.
Present.
Director Kurth.
Here.
Vice President Fishman.
Here.
Director Herber.
Here.
Director Sanborn.
Here.
President Tamayo.
Here.
All board members are present. We have a quorum.
I'm not vice president anymore.
Did I? I apologize. I thought I said Vice President Fishman.
We got rid of that guy.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it's Vice President Kurth, so.
Oh.
Have we received any requests to speak on the closed session agenda?
We have not.
All right, so the board will now enter into closed session to discuss the following item. Public employment pursuant to Section 54957B1 of the Government Code, employment of CEO and general manager. And so